Good evening, everyone. I'm Richard Lutke. I am Planning Director for the City of Louisville. I want to thank everyone for being here this evening. I hope this has been very beneficial for each one of you. We really do appreciate your input. That is really the most important component of our plan. Our final speaker tonight is Angela Self. And I really got to know Angela almost earlier this spring, or it was last year. She was inducted into the College of Fellows of the American Institute of Certified Planners. And that is the highest honor that city planners can receive. But she has been recognized for so much of the work that she has done here in our region. She has worked for the City of Dallas, the City of Garland, and she's currently Planning Director for the City of Cedar Hill. So it is my pleasure to introduce Angela Self to talk about community building tonight.
Good evening, everyone. You guys are the rock stars. If you're anything like me, my bedtime is about 9:30, so I can imagine that, to commit to staying through for a community event really shows your love for the city of Louisville. So I really commend you for being here tonight. I want to thank everyone for inviting me to be a part of this event. When I walked into the room, my topic today is what does it take to build community? But when I got to the city, to the exit, I drove up and I saw someone running in. And I thought to myself, wow, he's excited. He can't wait to get into the building. Then when I parked my car, I walked to the doorstep and there were people cooking hot dogs and, had chips and sodas and water, and they had on purple shirts. And I thought to myself, wow, there's a community here. When I walked inside, everyone was so welcoming. There were hugs, there were hellos, this is how you fit in, this is how you connect. And it really reinforced for me that I was in the right place and that community already exists here. So tonight, I just want to commend you all for taking that first big step in moving the next generation forward by doing this 2035 plan, but also just by displaying community to someone who is not necessarily a part of your community, that you embraced time I walked into the room. And that's really what we're going to talk about tonight. So I hope that we can have more of a conversation. It's late in the evening, so I'm hoping that whoever has the microphone will get ready, that we will probably talk a little bit in between before we get to the end of the presentation. So I hope you're ready to raise your hand and ask questions or give feedback, because I'm hoping, my goal for tonight is that there's more community when we walk out than we had when we walked in. So my goal for you is when you walk out of here, you talk to someone that you didn't talk to before you got into the room. Everybody up for that? Okay, good. All right, so the presentation is really simple. We're going to define community, we're going to talk about the benefits of community, and then we're going to talk about it in relationship to planning. So the slides are just a guide. You guys are the presentation. So the guide will be here so we kind of keep on topic, we hit some major points, but I really want us to talk and learn from each other. So what is community? Community is just a group of people who are united around something that they share. So it might be that you have shared values, you have shared interests, you may have a shared place. And so community is a really fundamental part of being together. But there's some elements that are really important that if you don't achieve them, you really won't form a community. You'll just be a collection of people who happen to be in the same place or in the same room. And so we'll work through some of that tonight. Community gives us a connection, it gives us a sense of belonging, it makes us feel good. When I walked into the room today, when I walked into the building today, I felt good. I instantly felt like I belonged here and that I was a part of the Louisville community. I saw people that I hadn't seen for years that work here. I saw people that I didn't even know lived here. And so it just felt good to be in the room with the citizens of Louisville, and it really is a testament to the community building that's probably taken place for many years. Ultimately, community building is about forming caring relationships. I care that I saw someone who's my mentor tonight. I care that I saw my coworkers and planners that I've worked with in so many different places. I care that I saw former coworkers that live here. I care that someone came up to me and said, "Do I know you?" And so those are the things that really form community. You don't have to have this deep, kind of thought about it. It's really just about that connection and that feeling that you get as a part of it. Community thrives when people work together. So you're here tonight. I'm assuming you're here because you care about the city. I'm assuming you're here because you have a common goal about the future of the city. And so just those elements alone make you a community. You are here rallying around the future and planning for the future. Community is built on collaboration, open communication, and respect. And so when we talk about the comprehensive planning effort, when we talk about all the things we want to see Louisville be in the future, none of that will happen if we don't know how to work together, we don't know how to have open communication, and we don't have respect for the various opinions that we may have about what Louisville should be. I said in some of the earlier sessions, and the conversations were about history, about the things that as a community you rally around, the things that have happened within the community, and then there was a presentation about what the future would look like. We may not all have the same opinion about that. You may think, I want the future to be where things stay the same. Someone else may say, no, I want to see growth. I want to see, higher density. I want to see parks or trails. None of those are the wrong answer. All of those opinions are valuable. And it's really about how we communicate with each other as to how we form a vision that we can all rally around and invest in and move forward. So that really is a big part of why we want community to be a part of this discussion tonight. We want to make sure that as the many voices are heard throughout this process, that we take the time to listen, that we have a sense of openness and respect for the varying opinions, and that we work together to find that common thread that we can then rally around and move forward. So ultimately, if you want to create a lasting community, one that is successful over time, you have to learn how to work together, right? Still out there? So finally, communities are shaped by everyday interactions. How many people have a place they go to for their grocery shopping on a regular basis? How good does it feel when the cashier goes, hey, I saw you last week, how are you doing? Who goes somewhere special for their coffee or for their breakfast in the morning? And they walk in and they already have your order. Or they think about you and they go, oh, you got something different today. They're paying attention to who you are. When I was working on this presentation, I thought about the show Cheers. Some people might not be old enough to know that, that reference. But when somebody already said it, who walked in the door, what did they say? Door. That's community. That is like the nugget of community that I want to see anywhere I go. They know your name. They make you feel welcome. They're excited that you're there. And that's what we want to cultivate as a part of the city. So that can happen anywhere. I mentioned some of those everyday places that we go, like our grocery store, coffee shop, where we eat lunch. But it's really about any shared space. It may be where you like to take your dog to the park, and that is where you find your community. I like to go on the trails around the region, and if I go to the same trail that's in my neighborhood, I see people that I've seen, over and over again. And you start to form these little nicknames about who they are. You go, oh, I saw the guy with the spotted dog today. Or I saw the lady with the pink bike. There's this lady that has an old school bike, and I love to see her coming. But it's so funny because my husband and I joke because it only has one gear. And we're just like, man, she is really working hard. We're really impressed with her because can you imagine cycling a whole trail in one gear? So, community can happen anywhere. And community is really about that familiarity. It's about that connection, about those relationships that you form as a part of your everyday experience. Ultimately, the heart of community lies in those common experiences, those shared stories, and really, the everyday things that happen that we use as memories, as, those positive experiences as we go through life. So I was looking at the city of Louisville, and this is where I want you to raise your hand and tell me about the city. I saw on the website that you have a few activities that your community puts on, And these are really community building things. They celebrate culture, they celebrate shared love of maybe music or the arts. They may be fun things that allow you to just have fun. What are some of your favorite things that are community building activities in the city? Does anyone want to share with me some of the other activities that are out there in the city? And it could be big or small. What do you all enjoy doing as a part of your community? Are you a part of a book club? Anybody? I saw somebody shake their hand. Are you a part of a band? Any musicians in here? Don't be shy. What's one or two other things that you do in the city of Louisville that's really about community? I see a hand up here.
Going on group hikes at Leela.
Okay. I love that. I would love to be a part of that community. I love hiking. What's one more? I'm going to, Richard, you're going to get your exercise today.
My church does a lot of volunteer events
Okay.
around the city.
Perfect. One more. Anything else? I see a hand in the back. Oh, also to the side.
Yeah, so when I went to school at UNT, I remember Louisville used to do the music in the park during the summer, so I enjoyed that.
Very nice. Somebody said we still do? Yeah, don't miss it. Good. Maybe one more.
Okay, I didn't think of this until now, but I belong to a Rotary Club, and there's 3 Rotary Clubs in Louisville. 2. Anyway, so everyone should pick a Rotary Club and join it. It's a great community.
I saw one hand in the back, and I don't want to miss it because you were very patient.
Me and my wife are a part of a book club, and we do meet here actually in Old Town over at Main Street Cafe, and we have our book club there.
Oh, very nice. I love that too. So for all the things you heard civic groups. How many of you are a part of a civic group? Okay. I heard a book club. Who wants to join the book club now that you know about it? Okay. So you see the gentleman in the back. What about your churches? You know, that's a great community. I heard someone mention that their church does volunteer. Who volunteers in the community? Good. So I want you to look around as you raise your hand, because those are your people. Those are the people that you can connect with in this room that will help deepen your community here in the city of Louisville. So definitely keep your eyes open when we raise our hands on some things. The thing that we're mainly talking about is how do we form connections? And so, you know, the personal connections that are formed as a part of the things that we do in groups around our community, that is how we create value with each other. It allows us to be seen. It makes us feel good. Those connections are what are the foundation, the building blocks of community in a city or in a neighborhood or in any group of people. And so one thing I wanted to ask, as a part of the idea of connection, what do you think helps you form connections as a part of your everyday experience here in the city? Is there something that you found? I'll use myself as an example. Food. Food is a huge connection builder for me. When I first moved here, I didn't have any family here. And so my coworkers, we would meet in the hallway at work. And anyone who wanted to go to lunch, you just would meet in the hallway. And then somebody would pick a place and show us a new place to eat. I met so many people just through food. And so if you're looking for ways to connect to people, food is a fantastic way. If you serve food, most times people will come. What is another connection point? How do you connect with people when you're trying to build community? Any other ideas? Faith. Common faith. Very important. That is a huge way to connect, because that's a very deep and personal relationship that you can connect on. So that's a great one. I love that. Any others to share? I would say music. I hear a lot of music theme activities here in the city. So that's always one. What about your neighborhood? What about just a common love of a particular area of the city or the block that you live on? The football team seems to be one as well, and I'm surprised nobody mentioned that. Yeah, so connection can happen in a lot of different ways, and we really I just want to highlight that it doesn't take much. It doesn't take any real resources. It's just finding the things that you like and creating a connection to someone else who likes it too. And so that's connection. Now, if you want to go deeper and use community building to really make a difference, how can you identify how to collaborate with the people that you've connected to? So you found the people who love the same things you love. They love chocolate chip cookies. I love chocolate chip cookies. So now that we know that, how do we move that forward towards making a difference? How do we make our connection into something that allows us to fuel problem solving, fuel transition and change in our community? How are some ways that you've managed to collaborate with people from various backgrounds to do something that is a change maker in the city? What's an example of that here? Anything that you've seen change that has come about from the connections that people have made? No? What about your downtown? That looks like a pretty good collaboration point. I drove through earlier on my way to the meeting, and I saw how there was, I barely made it here because I started to stop. I saw the bakery, and I thought, oh, I should go in there. And then I think, is there a bridal shop? I went there when I was looking for my wedding dress. And I thought, oh, I forgot about that place. Yes, I would love to go in there. And so, collaboration is really just saying, how can we turn the connections that we've made, identify something that we commonly believe in, and take action. And so that can be a real challenge because it really requires somebody to take the lead. It requires partnership. It requires that we really start to talk about what are the real challenges that we want to affect. And so the process that you're engaged in right now, that's your opportunity to have those moments where you talk about what's needed so that in 2035, you've moved the needle forward towards where you would like to be. So if you're looking for a way to deepen your community building, this is the place. This is definitely the place. So why do we do it? We do it because it makes us feel good. That sense of belonging, that sense of care that you get when you make that connection with someone, when you find your community, when you build it and connect and grow it, that feeling of belonging is that intrinsic thing that makes community so wonderful. What are some things that make you feel great when you're a part of your community? What are some things you love? I love when I get a hug. I love when I see my people and they go, oh, there's Angela. I want to give her a hug. What are some other things that really make you feel like I belong here? Smiles. I love that. That's a good one. What else? Anything? What about when somebody says, I saw you before? Sometimes it's just that little thing. Someone that says, I saw you at the last event. How are you? What did you think about that speaker? What did you think about that activity? Did you go around and look at the boards? One of the things about belonging is really just removing the barriers so that we kind of feel that comfort and that excitement about seeing each other, or we find that thing that we're excited about and it grows into a little bit more, maybe a conversation, an exchange of ideas. And so really when it comes to belonging, this is the piece that crosses the hurdle of community building. So you've made that connection, oh, I have a purple shirt, you have one too. Where are you going? You've collaborated perhaps, you've decided to be in the same space together, you've decided to work on this activity together, this comprehensive plan. But now, imagine if you take this moment, if you take this event, and you come back for the next one, and you see somebody you recognize, and you look at each other and go, I know you. That's just the seed for belonging. And so this is such a great opportunity to grow that aspect of community building. This effort that you're engaged in for a comprehensive plan is everything about shared purpose. I imagine that you're here because you care about the future. Or are you here just because they had hot dogs outside? We can be honest about it. I'm assuming you're here because you want to be a part of building what happens next. You probably have some ideas about it. Maybe you have some opinions about it. Maybe you just think, well, I want my kids to have something a little bit better than what I had. Somewhere in there, all of the people in the room have found a way to have a shared purpose. So you guys are already a community working together. Finally, trust. Trust is the backbone. So if you trust the people that you're working with, it becomes a little bit easier to work together towards a common purpose and a common goal. So how do you form that trust? What are some ways that give you a feeling of trust when you're working with someone? Anyone want to share an idea or thought? I know for me, it's when I can depend on what they say. You said that you would open the doors and start presentations at 5:30, and you did. You said that you would take what I wrote down as my comment, and you would document that and incorporate it into the discussion. You know, comprehensive planning processes are all about capturing the words and the thoughts and the beliefs and the feelings that our residents have, documenting that and showing them that that was considered as a part of the process. How many of you went around to the boards? Did you put anything on the boards yet? What were some of the things that stood out to you tonight? Anybody want to share something that they thought was a really good point to make? You guys are so shy.
Yes, I forget which board it was on, but I think the word engagement was like a big topic on that particular board.
Mm-hmm. And for engagement, was it that you wanted to see more, you wanted to be involved, that kind of thing?
No, I just feel like it was. I just feel like overall, like everybody had that engagement piece on their mind. So I think the question was what would make something better, and for majority of the people, it was the engagement piece.
Perfect. Okay. Anybody else want to share something that they might have added to the boards tonight? Or something that you found interesting? I see one hand.
I think it was the kind of business you would like to see in Louisville, and I think we're getting new businesses all the time, and I love it. But I would really love to see a coffee shop up by the Rusty Beagle. That's right around the corner from me.
I need to investigate.
I want a new coffee shop.
I love it. Any others to share before we move to the next thing? Okay. You know, really, as a part of this, when people trust that their engagement is worth the time, that they're able to share their thoughts and they are considered, people are further engaged and they're willing to be a part of the community that's being active in this activity. Trust lowers barriers, it reduces conflict, it allows people to have a conversation and to talk through challenging things because they trust that the communication can happen without there being kind of this, you know, challenging way of doing it. So it's really important that trust is a part of community building. So we've talked a little bit about the benefits of community building. We talked about connections. We talked about collaboration. We talked a little bit about that feeling of belonging, as well as that idea that a shared purpose really is the ultimate purpose of having community building. And finally, we also talked about trust. So remember at the start of this, I said I wanted us to walk out with more community than what we came in with. Anybody remember that? I want to ask the question, who are the communities in the room? Who did you come with? Did you come with your neighbor, your friend, your spouse, or did you come alone?
Team Louisville is in the house.
Tell me about Team Louisville.
We have the pleasure of working for the residents of the city of Louisville. We are Team Louisville.
I love that. And I can tell you were a team because the minute you said it, people started clapping, and I said, those are her community members. Yes.
I came alone, but I knew that I would be walking in here and seeing friends and people I know. So I knew that coming in, I wasn't going to be alone. And I'm not afraid of being alone. But anyway, so I know many of you in here.
Perfect. I love that. Well, I definitely encourage you as a part of building community tonight. If you sit next to someone you don't know, whether they're in front of you or behind you or next to you, take a moment to say, hi, my name is, and that's all you have to do. Because community building doesn't happen overnight. It's not something that you force. It's not something that you create. You make it happen. You really take it one step at a time. And it really depends on your own personal style. You know, maybe you're someone who's more introvert and you're just like, I would never stand up here on the stage and talk about anything. Or maybe you are the person that's willing to cheer and shout out your team. Or maybe you're somewhere in between. But I want to give you the confidence that community building can start with just a hello. Just a hello, my name is. There were two women who met me in the hall, and they were so kind. She came up, there she is, there you are. Came up to me and just said hello. That's all it takes. And from there, you build to the levels of community. So let's talk about community building as a part of the planning process. How many of you were engaged in the previous planning process? Okay. How many of you are new to planning? Any kind of, oh wow, that's great. New to a planning process like this. Great. Well, community building, you know, it is really a foundational element of doing any kind of planning process. You know, we invite people to come out and share their thoughts because we want to hear from a variety of voices. And the challenge, especially as planners that we have in listening to all of the voices, is that we have to know how to listen, how to connect, and how to build that trust throughout the process. And so I know that you're off to a great start being a part of this process for the first time. That's pretty exciting. Strong communities drive effective planning. And so if you don't have that strength of community, it's really hard to create a plan that people buy into. You know, if you try to do a plan that doesn't engage, doesn't build community, it probably isn't going anywhere. But if you take the time, like you're doing tonight, to talk, to connect, to build that relationship, to build those trust mechanisms, and to collaborate, you will create a plan that will actually move things forward. I come from a community, several communities. I've had the opportunity to work with several communities in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And the one common thread that they had was the foundation of valuing community. And for each of those, maybe the project took 5 years, 10 years, sometimes it takes 20 years. But the takeaway was because they built that foundation of trust, because they had great communication and built the relationship and sustained the relationships over time, they were able to see those projects forward. And so a thriving community is one that allows all the voices to be heard and really values all of the voices as a part of the project that they're doing. So ultimately, community planning efforts are strongest when you have community. You know, we really want to make sure that the public engagement that happens with a comprehensive plan or any other plan that reflects the diverse voices that are within your community. So now you have a charge. You were here, you heard the messaging, you heard what was going on, what was planned. So what do you think your charge is? To take it back to your community. Yeah. Someone's voice, they said, oh wow, really? You are the seed for building the community for this particular planning effort. You had a chance to hear from some great speakers tonight. You got a chance to engage with a lot of different boards out in the lobby and talk with people. I saw people having conversations all over the room. Now you're charged. You are the seed of this community for this project and beyond. And so your charge after this meeting is to take this back to your various communities and encourage them to come out and grow the larger community around this planning effort. So finally, I just encourage you to meet somebody new tonight. If you didn't get a chance to talk to someone new, take that moment before you leave. Start with a simple introduction. Doesn't take much more than that. Introduce yourself. You know, one of the things that I always find is a great entryway is to find something you like about that person and just say, you know what, I like your orange shirt. It's pretty cool. Or I like your glasses. Where'd you get those from? So take a moment just to connect with people. Say a simple hello. Memorize a face and look for them at the next event. Discover what you have in common. It could be as simple as the book club, which I hope that you guys connect and find a way to go to that. Or it could be something else that you find that you love in the same way. Attend the meetings for Louisville 2035. I'm sure there's a whole program of activities that are planned for you all that will be as fun and as engaging as this has been tonight. And connect. Stay connected. You know, there's so many ways to connect nowadays with technology, but then there's also the simple ways of just showing up in your local coffee shop or the local restaurant for lunch. So definitely take advantage of the great community that you have here and continue to build that in support of Louisville 2035. So with that, I say thank you. I've enjoyed talking with you all tonight, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you, Angela, for such an inspirational message. That concludes our speakers for tonight. I do ask that if you hadn't had a chance to go around our boards, I think most of you probably have, but if you haven't, feel free to take time, document your thoughts. And if you have not signed in, we want to make sure you sign in so that we have your contact information. We have cards at the table with the QR code to the project website. So there's multiple ways to stay involved and connected. We'll be having, I believe, 3 more of these workshops as we go through the process of forming the 2035 plan. But I want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. It's because everyone cares, for our entire community and for each other. That's the Louisville difference and the Louisville way. So proud to be a part of this community, and so proud to have all of you here tonight. So I look forward to seeing all of you at our next event. Thank you.